Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the third hour of the first episode of Torchbearer, the Oathkeeper's Demesne. This is going to be a sandbox wilderness adventure, harkening back to Darkest Dungeon, crossed with Firewatch, crossed with a little bit of like West March's sort of like sandbox play. So, we just finished making characters, and now we're getting ready to jump into play. Before I set up the first scene, I wanted to describe for everybody how this game is going to work a little bit as far as things go. And Andrew, I thought your hand was getting raised.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Which is that we didn't roll any spells for me.
You don't have.
Or I don't know what.
Oh, you didn't grab your spell. Okay, let's grab your spell, and then I'll talk about describing to live. So grab your spell. All right. So you get to roll 2d6.
You get 2 additional spells, right?
They start with 3 known spells, Wisdom of the Sages plus 2 additional random spells. And all of these go in your traveling spell book, which I hope you have.
Yes, I purchased one.
Okay.
Cool. So I have, I rolled a 1 and a 3. And I have Wisdom of the Ancients, always?
So you roll I'm sorry, you're
4, so.
you're rolling 2d6 and summing the results here.
Okay, so a 4.
Yep. Arcane Semblance. I'm pretty sure that's like disguise self-ish things.
And then I roll again.
Yes.
I got a 10.
Mm-hmm. Word of Binding.
Cool.
That's pretty
and then
good.
I always have, what was the one I always have?
The one you always have is Wisdom of the Sages.
Of the Sages, that's what it is. Okay,
Yes.
cool. Which is like learn about magic stuff, or like
Yes.
identify items kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Magicians can memorize spells without a test during the Camber Town phase, as long as you're not interrupted by a disaster, and you have the spell in your spellbook. You can also use Mentor to learn new spells that you can come across, or have people teach you that kind of stuff.
Cool.
Okay. So we're ready to do some describe to live?
Yes, sorry.
Awesome. No problem. No, that's a really, really important thing to do. So, the way this game's going to work is that this game's pretty mechanically heavy, right?
Right.
Yeah. All right, scroll up for... Oh, it's getting cut off at the bottom. That's what's going on. Sorry about that. 1 second. I have to just fix the dice.
Oh, Nadia, you're muted.
Yeah, I fixed it. Okay, so this game has a lot of mechanical parts, and we're going to be like learning this game together, right? Like that's going to be something that we're going to do. But this game kind of only works in a way so that we are doing things in what the book describing to live. We're going to let the fiction flow first whenever possible. What I mean by that is we're not playing this game like a board game, being like my move is Pathfinder, we're going 3 to do this thing. Instead, it's going to be like Eisensee peers through the trees and does whatever and says and gestures to his friends, I think we should go this way. By the way, Eric, I want to make a Pathfinder test here or a Scout test to see if this is the best way to go, right? Something like that. That's what I'm kind of expecting here in terms of things like that. Whenever you have any questions about like, hey, can I use this skill here? Or you can totally announce being like, I want to use this skill. I'm thinking about my character doing it this one way or whatever as we're learning and going on. By the way, would it be cool if I used my trait for this too and then describe it? I would never let somebody be like, oh, I'm using my adventurous trait without describing it. Just like if you're playing Burning Wheel, if you're forking in something and describing something, you got to actually add how that's applicable into what you're saying or doing. So,
Deal.
Okay, so that's sort of like the deal. That's sort of the arrangement that we're going to have for setting up scenes and stuff like that, right? So hopefully we're on board with that. I'm not going to punish you for not knowing something whenever as much as I can. What I mean by that is if it's obviously like I made a mistake or we all thought something was going completely wrong and we're all off base, I'm totally fine with like retconning a little bit to like fix it so we're all okay here. I'm not a stickler for that kind of stuff. And there's one last thing I want to talk about beforehand is the never volunteer rule of this game. What this means is when you're doing describing to live, and we see Eisensee once again doing like that scouting the woods or whatever, like, Eisensee goes forward and looks around. he would totally be allowed to be like, so Eisensee goes, Andrew would be totally allowed to say and describe how Eisensee wants to go look around, but has a better idea and suggests that someone else goes, and being like, it'd be a good idea if we scout around. It would be a bad idea, and I would not allow you to be like, Ahab, you have the best scout skill, go do it, right? But it'd be like, Ahab, I believe you led us on a boat numerous times. What do your eyes see? Something like that, right? That's how you suggest people to help you.
Yeah, so fiction
right.
first.
Yeah, fiction first stuff, right? We're doing that. Okay.
Ahab, what do your squid eyes see?
Yeah. It's just murky, man. I don't see anything.
You see the dark and the depths.
Cool. Okay. So this is where we're going to be opening up our scene here. Our companions have been traveling around with a group of travelers on a caravan. You've been sharing stories and meals together as they continue their constant wandering paths until you guys were going towards this mythic land called the Vale of Mist and Shadows. In this valley, you've heard that poachers have been gathering coins and stuff like that, and you've been swapping stories about what could be there with these travelers. You guys wake up next morning well rested and ready to go, but the travelers have moved on, and you're basically kind of like a fork in the road here, and your path is to go down this one way, and basically from where you are, the valley kind of opens up to you. This seems to be like the only pass. The earth around you is very wet and damp, like it's spring. The snows have been thawing. Not that it's been raining, it's just snows have thawed. It's a little chilly. And deep ahead of you, or far down ahead of you, you can see the ridgeback lines of mountains and trees, as well as in the farthest distance, you can see on top of a hill an old abandoned, broken down watchtower. Very much like the picture you could see from the artwork that I made. Way down the distance, it's shimmering, just a little tiny little like Tetris looking rectangle jutting across the mountains. It's really early in the morning, so it's very cold. It's probably like 6 or 7. What do you guys do?
I have a quick request.
Yes.
We all change our display names to our character names, so that
I've already done
roll
that.
20.
Oh, in roll 20, yes.
Yes.
If you guys want, jutting ahead down this road, we could actually. I want to push a little bit forward to have some kind of interesting thing, if you don't mind. Sorry about that. Jutting ahead, you guys find yourselves where the path ends. You guys entered the Vale. The road has been sort of whatever road there was has not been reclaimed and redone since winter. Ahead of you is a deep, dark timber forest. You think if you wanted to go around it or so, there would be some sort of like mountains and hills that would require traversing. But your destination lies somewhere in this valley.
What's the weather like today?
Yeah.
Is it a hot day, or is it a chill morning? What time of day is it?
Yeah, it's about 6 or 7 in the morning. It's very chill. Your visibility is somewhat limited as like there's a morning fog. You guys are in the lands of mist and shadow. So there's a low-hanging fog that's been dissipating since you guys have been up. And hovering above that kind of fog in the treetops has been that sort of like tower in the distance.
And like we're here because our boat foundered on the rocks and sank.
Yeah, and you heard rumors of money to be made in this valley, uncovering treasure. You've been following along with a caravan that's been going through the lands, like a traveling culture, like a nomads. And you have finally gotten to where your destination is, and they have been going off a different way.
Okay, got it. I think I look around at my two faithful sailing companions, and I say, Eisensee, you have led us flawlessly across the waves. Which path do you think favors us? Through these darkened woods or across these hills?
And yeah, you see like their eyes narrow in the, inside the like headscarf. And yeah, we call you Captain, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least on the water you did. I don't know if that's necessarily holding true now that we're shipless.
No, you're always
You're still a captain.
All right.
Captain of my heart. Yeah, so they say, yes, Captain, well, of course, given the nature of our mission, the cover of fog and forest might be best for us. Maybe we go this way. Prying eyes, all that.
Yes.
And Ermintrude is just checking all of the gear, and like the two of them figure out where to go and what to do. Like I just wait for orders until or unless we're underground, and then my demeanor changes. But
right.
on the surface, I'm just checking the gear and waiting for the humans to figure out what they want to do.
You're like a loyal soldier.
Yeah. I want my marching orders.
And
Now,
then,
is there... Sorry, Alex. Andrew, sorry.
and then I sense he like pulls out their spell book and like flips to the back where it's all the like star charts and other craziness, and like looks up at the sky, and then I'm like, like, ah, yes, and it is the 8th day of spring, and we are under a favorable star. Today is the best day to leave. We shouldn't tarry.
I just silently shake my head at what sounds like mumbo jumbo to me.
Yeah, convenient. Is there an obvious path leading into these woods, Eric?
There's like the remnants of a road, right?
Yes, but the road has since winter has been in disrepair and functionally useless. The road very quickly, once you get into the underbrush of the forest, dissipates into nothing. Got it.
Well, yeah, I think Ahab just sort of steps back and gestures grandly in the direction of the forest, looking at Eisensee.
Yeah.
And yeah, like muttering to myself, I start walking forward, and I'm like looking at the ground, and like, maybe we can use the old road. And I'm like, pull out my knife and like cut a sprig of some branch and like look at it. And
yeah. So the woods smell. So just to give you a little bit like description and surrounding and sort of imagery here. The woods smell like thick of pine and that crisp cold air that you would find at higher elevations. As well as you have that kind of damp chill that the fog just kind of is lingering on you around. So you like that crisp cold and a little bit damp feel of early or mid-spring. Birds are chirping and stuff you can hear through the woods.
Yeah, and so I think Isensi's plan here is to like try to use any like remnant of the old road that might still be there, like if there are like waystones along the way or whatever else. We're gonna like try to kind of vaguely follow it through the woods, but that our path will invariably like crisscross across the old road and like be generally a bit circuitous, given that the things have like washed out or changed.
Yeah, if you want to guess your way through the woods based on sort of, just experience and looking for kind of like old waystones that might have been left, that certainly sounds like pathfinding.
Cool. So I will roll my pathfinder, and you have this nice little rolling macro for us.
Yes. Okay. So this is going to be our first roll of the game for pathfinding. So now that we agree that we're going to be doing pathfinding. I'm not going to ask you this every time, but does anybody want to help you on this roll?
So like, tell us how the helping mechanic works, because I have a Pathfinder of 1, so if I have to roll something, it's probably not worth it.
Yes. Okay.
So helping, you add dice to my pool, so you add like a single die per person helping.
I'm just like, yeah, I'm helping, and then he gets an additional die.
Yeah, but describe how you aid him, and you're going to be navigating through this entire forest, right? So
Yeah.
In order to do what you're saying, then before I give you the obstacle, I want you guys to describe everything that what you're doing first.
Well, and yeah, so sorry. Also, is this like we get all the way to town, or because we want to go find this town? I'm assuming it's not just like we roll once and we get there. That this will get us some portion of the way. Like
this will get you through the woods.
Watchtower?
Yeah, this will get you. No, this will get you through the woods.
Okay, and then there's like more stuff on the other side of the woods before we get to that watchtower. Cool.
Yes, this is enough to navigate through the misty woods right now.
Turns out I have a scout of 2. So I think while Icency is looking at the stars in the book or whatever the fuck they're doing, I'm like more practically looking and keeping an eye out as we move through unfamiliar territory.
Yeah, and like you don't need the exact skill to help. You can just have like relevant or related skills.
There were related skills to help with. I think an obvious one for Pathfinder helping. They're listed in the back of the book, but one of them is scouting.
Yeah, scout is definitely on that list. I think.
So you could like help.
Cartographer or other stuff necessarily applies, but.
So like, do you have to have a skill in order to help, or can you just be like, yes, I am going to point out local features and query eyes and see whether or not they think we should go that way?
No, you would
help with skills.
Yeah, you have to help with skills.
Okay, I don't have any relevant skills, unless orating is a relevant skill.
You deliver a stirring speech.
Exactly. I pontificate on the presence of the deep ones as we walk.
Well, no, the captain doesn't navigate. The captain just declares where we're going, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
That seems really appropriate.
Yep. And here's Stephen, you asked something about helping as well as how helping works. There's a rule called you reap what you sow. When you throw in your lot to help somebody, you also suffer the consequences. When you help somebody, though, you very often do not suffer the same consequences as someone else. You suffer a reduced effect. So, for example, somebody got sick or something like that. If you got sick, then it's possible and you would only get hungry and thirsty or something like that, right? You get a reduced condition.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
So I'm testing Pathfinder.
Yeah.
My rating is 3.
And you're getting two people
getting
to help
one
you?
die of help.
Yeah.
From Ermintrude.
Oh, okay.
And there's no forking or any of that other fun stuff from Burning Wheel in this game.
Yeah, you can invoke a trait for an additional one if you want, and then once you're ready, and once you've committed all of your resources, I tell you the obstacle, and then we go.
Well, I think actually, given my description, I think it would be appropriate for my wizard sight trait to come in.
Sure. Describe.
Because,
Describe for us what that looks like and how it comes into play.
So, like, I'm like, oh yes, the stars, whatever, and I looked at all the charts, and then, although the other characters can't see this, as Icency is like trying to find their way through here, they keep like consulting these books and like casting bones and stuff like that, and they just get these like they're using like omens to kind of help when they don't really know what they're looking for. So they're like, if it's ever like, I don't know which way to go, they'll like break off a twig and use it as a dowsing rod or like all this other weird like arcane nonsense.
Okay.
If anyone else did it, it wouldn't work. But because I'm actually
yeah, and you're like muttering or something like
the whole time I'm like talking to myself in this.
No, like that, hold on, stop. The geometry's wrong. 1 second, I gotta read through. Yeah, totally.
Or I have like a pendulum. I bust out like a pendulum and all this kind of stuff, like all the weirdo like.
Definitely.
And while this is happening, I just have like this long suffering expression on my face, and I'm like moving branches out of the way before Icency runs into them.
Yeah, because I'm like looking at the ground or my pendulum. Yeah.
Gently steer you away from trees and things like that.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah, so this is definitely going to be so this is pathfinding. The two things you guys need to know then. So you're doing this will be a short journey, and in addition, some other factors here. It's overgrown. Another factor is the mists. So you're looking here at about like a ob 5. Is there anything else you wanted to add here?
Ob 5.
An obs 5?
Yeah.
Like, can I help with a?
It's a short journey.
Skill of 1.
Yeah. I think so. As long as you have the skill, you could help.
Yeah, you can totally help as well.
Well, like, don't you have a rating of 1 in all of the skills?
No, they start at 0.
No, they start at 0.
Well then, no. Never mind. I don't have that skill at all.
No.
And like,
you can't help with beginner's luck, I think.
Ermintrude is set up to help a lot because she has laborer, which is like you can like help almost anything with laborer, where because like someone needs to like dig the ditch or cut the foliage out of the way or whatever else. So that's like a really really good helping skill, but
Nice. Yeah.
doesn't seem
Good
like
luck.
Ahab is. Yeah. I'm trying to think if I have any equipment that would be relevant, but I don't really think so.
Yeah.
I can only give the one die, right?
Yeah. So unless I use my tinderbox to burn down the forest, no, none of my equipment is relevant. Cool. Well, let's just hope I succeed on every die. We don't start with any fate or persona, right?
No, this is not Mouse Guard. Mouse Guard,
Yeah.
you start with 1 fate and 1 persona.
Isn't that nice? Yeah, a forgiving game. Hey, maybe I roll all successes,
Yeah.
you know?
Maybe.
This was, so the obstacle here was based on the scope of what you were going after. To complete through the entire one place, right,
What?
is this obstacle here. Okay. Yeah, so...
I get 2 successes. If I had fate, I might be able to get this. They're both 6s,
Yeah.
but...
So here's... Okay. You come across... During your travel, a new smell comes across your guys' noses. It is a smell of cooking food. You guys come across a camp. A small little like tarp tent is set up here. There's a fire going. There's like a one of those sort of like tripods with a metal pot going. Something's bubbling inside. It smells delicious, but nobody's around. So of this twist, so I'm giving you guys a twist here from doing this. Maybe perhaps either you're looking for someone to help you or something like that, but rather than going through the forest, you find yourselves at this campsite. It looks obviously
still in the
inhabited,
wood.
but the person is not here, or persons.
And this is still in the woods, correct?
Yes, this is deep in these woods.
We get a test for our skills, right? Fails?
Yes. So if you have gone ahead and tested Pathfinder, go ahead and mark a test. You don't get to mark the test for helping, I think, right?
You don't.
I know that in Burning Wheel helpers learn, but I don't know if that's true for this game. They're
No,
so
I think you only get to if you spend a check for it.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah. So it smells like a rabbit stew. It's very aromatic. The tent is approximately the size, for a person. You can tell by the size of the tent, it could fit maybe like 4 people in it. It's a rather large tent, but there's a stew going. Nobody's around.
And it might even look to the other members of the crew like I'd sense he just like followed their nose here or something.
Yeah.
I do kind of give you a look over my shoulder, shake my head, and ready my hammer.
And I point at the pendulum as if it's the pendulum's fault that we've gone off course or whatever, or that we're here. I'm like, oh, I was simply following the...
Oh, this is destiny, right?
Yeah, and so I look wounded that you would blame me for this deviation from our course. And as I'm like bundling up my pendulum and putting it back.
So can I want to kind of pace the perimeter of this camp and see if I can find any signs of like egress.
So like footsteps and what have you?
Yeah, or like broken branches or what have you.
And yeah, while she's doing that, I'm just like cursing our poor luck and like the stars themselves as I'm like drawing this map of where we've been thus far. I'm like updating my little map.
I'd
Sure.
probably make some sort of snarky comment. The stars may be right every so often. The deep ones, they never let you down.
I
You
thought they only let you down. Urban Truth calls.
Yeah,
She's,
right.
like searching in the brush around the like edge of the ring.
Muttering under her breath.
So, Ermintrude, as you're like going around the perimeter of this camp, you notice some other camping supplies that are kind of like bushled up near a corner. Bear traps, like large clamp kind of traps, right?
Are they set or
no.
are they just there?
No, they're stuck together, like
Okay. And I kind of gesture to my party, and I say, "Looks like it was trappers."
I like, I push aside the flap that's the entrance to the tent and confirm that it's empty.
Yeah. You do. It is empty. However, sprout out on the floor here are a couple old bedrolls and some furs used for bedding. The camp looks like it was made recently.
Like, is the fire still burning?
Yes, the fire is still going like
It's
full
like
speed.
just finishing itself out. Kind of?
No, it's like going full speed. Like it looks like the place should be inhabited by all intents and purposes. It looks like the people
Right,
are
and they
just
didn't finish their breakfast.
yeah they didn't finish their breakfast, and so our dwarf has not found any sort of footprints, but going around.
And I like make a sign to ward off evil in the direction of this camp. I'm still like at the edge of the clearing, just like.
Yeah, I think I call out to Ermintrude and I say, Ermintrude, have you seen any signs of egress from the camp?
No, just these traps.
And they're not set.
No, looks like they just left him here. Looks like
What
this
make
is
you
all-
of this? This is strange, no?
Not all of you humans are strange to me.
This is fair. Well, from what I know of humans, this is also strange to me. I sensei. What think you?
Last time I saw someone just up and disappear like this, it's because something dragged them below. You remember? It was Marshall, a year and 6 days ago. And I like flipped to one page in my book where I'm like, oh, yes, no, a year and 5 days ago.
Yeah, I think I like make the
Drawn to
sign
the
of the
depths by a
tentacle.
crack. Well,
Yeah, I make the sign of the tentacle and I say, a glorious day.
and yeah, I have this like log of when all the crew have died. in
Yeah.
one part of my book, and,
That's-
like,
that's-
and how it's like part of my almanac.
No wonder I keep you around.
Yeah. I'm like, perhaps it was bears, spiders. What do they have in this kingdom again? I'm trying to like remember, but I can't.
Yeah.
Giant lizards, maybe.
Am I looking around? I didn't see any signs of struggle, right?
No, there's no signs of struggle. It looks to just be abandoned.
I mean,
Hastily.
Would it be fair to call for a scout test from Ermintrude, because she has been like
Yeah.
investigating?
Yeah,
and-
if you exactly to know more, that would make perfect sense. Just what are you trying to find? What question are you trying to answer here?
I want to know what direction they went.
Okay. That should be about an ob 1, or yeah, it's an obstacle because of all of the. It's a camp. There's a lot of things going around, but to get this stuff here, it should be an ob 1.
Okay. So I'm testing scout.
Yes.
My skill is 2. Trait supplies or other
Yeah.
modifiers.
Keep in mind here, since you guys have already done one Pathfinder test, the grind is now at 3. After Triss is done here, then the grind will go down to 2.
So it's counting down from 4 to 3 to 2.
Yeah, to 1, and then it
There we
resets to 4, and a condition triggers.
I was like, how are we up to 3?
Yeah, right?
Delving doesn't apply to this. None of my stuff applies. Okay. So, and no one's helping, right?
Yeah. I might add
Okay,
like a
so-
visual aid or something like on the screen to show that better than just the
Here's a
turn order.
question.
But yeah. What's up?
So I described it in Sensei like trying to remember like what kind of animals live around here, or what kind of like monsters might have like eaten these people. Can I be helping Ermintrude scout with my lore master skill? So I'm being like, oh well, in this area, like this kind of animal lives here, and like maybe they pulled them away or something.
Not lore master. That would be another skill. Particularly, I think that would be under the domain of hunter.
That would be hunter. Okay, cool.
Okay. So, no modifiers.
As
What
far as
ob-
any traits you can invoke or anything like that, or you want to use any? Do you have any skills or supplies that could add it or that kind of stuff?
Oh, and someone in chat just pointed out we get an extra die for being fresh, which I forgot to include
Yes.
on my test.
Oh, hey. Forgot about that. We are fresh.
Although, don't go fresh with me.
My
Hey.
skill is 2. I have an extra die from being fresh. My traits, born of earth and stone. Does that help me at all?
You tell me. There's a description for Born of Earth and Stone on X page here for that trait, and it tells you. Oh, here it is. These are... Dwarves were shaped by their maker from the bones of the earth, and they share many qualities of the earth and stone. Dwarves are steadfast and sturdy in all things, with a special feel for metal and stone, but they can also be stubborn and unyielding.
I don't think that plays in here.
Yeah.
Okay. So just the one die from being.
Yeah. Aren't you foolhardy? You could invoke foolhardy.
Yeah, I'm foolhardy, but I feel like I'm being super cautious.
Okay. Yeah, the opposite of your trait. Okay.
Yeah.
So you could invoke the trait to hinder yourself and get a check.
Right.
That. Yes. I think I'm frustrated with ICC's whatever, looking at the sky, and I'm just kind of blundering through like, God damn it, where have these people gone? I'm sick of this mysterious bullshit. So I will invoke foolhardy to take my fresh die away. That's how that works. It's a die, not a success, right?
Correct.
Correct. Okay.
All right. The Ob is still 1 to figure out which way these guys have gone. Did it roll?
2 successes. Oh, no, that's right.
Icency. It didn't?
Did the macro not go?
Either that or it's lagging. Let's try one more time. There we go. I don't know why that worked this time.
Okay.
Looks
Perfect.
good to me.
Oh yeah. They head off. They headed out in a easterly direction. The sounds of the faintest sounds from your test here. The sounds of a brook, like a light babbling brook, can be heard in the distance. Once again, though, like the scouting, you see. Oh, I know what it is. What gives you this direction what gives you the sensation that you know they went in the easterly direction here is that you find another trap that's just been kind of like dropped along this path here. It looks like there might have also been a boot that's kind of like stuck in the mud.
So then it is indicating that they left in a hurry?
It looks like somebody was quickly running and they just dropped their boot and they kept going, as well as what they were holding. That's the
Great
impression.
hurry indeed to drop the boot from off your foot.
So there was some
Boots aren't easy to come
there's
by.
some scared ass one booted person in these woods right now that you cannot hear. But you do
Yeah,
hear
just
the
like
serene.
it's
You hear the
battle.
serene birds chirping in the morning. You hear a slight little like babbling brook. It's very quiet. Otherwise,
Yeah, I think I address Ermintrude. I say, Ermintrude, have you any idea how many of them there were?
I wasn't able to tell that from my scouting, was I?
No, you were asking what direction they went. Not how many.
Yeah.
Right, but not how many.
I will give you more than one. But
More than one.
more than one, less than 25.
Yeah.
Okay.
Moving single file to hide their number.
Yeah.
Yep. and they do only have a tent that would fit 4 people, so between 2 and 4. And they're moving quickly enough to drop a trap and a boot.
Yeah.
Well, we know that we must needs make contact with locals from this land if we are to gain any more insight into the treasures of the night. Shall we follow this path, or shall we stay here, eat of their food, sleep in their tent, let them reap whatever fate has in store? I look to my companions.
I shake my head and I say I would want to know what they were running from before I decided to stay here.
I chime in with, it is the pirate's way to sleep where others flee. Take what belongs to a coward.
Yeah.
And I'm like nosing over to the soup, like,
Yeah.
You know what? I sort
Soup
of
smells
cross
really
my
good.
arms. I cross my arms and I sit down on like a stump or whatever's nearest to the cook fire, whatever.
Yeah,
you
there's
say.
definitely there's like those cut logs or whatever as
Yeah.
stools.
And I sit down and I say, the deep gods do not fear what comes upon them, and they take what is rightfully theirs. And I pick up the ladle and I dip it into the soup.
It's like so epic, but then you're just taking soup.
I sigh.
Well, that's good.
I sigh and I yank the boot out of the mud because shoes are hard to come by.
Yeah.
And I go over and I partake also of this rabbit stew.
Nice.
So how long are we staying here at this camp?
Are we going to camp?
Yeah, I mean, are we basically just like,
Do we need
all right,
to?
this camp is ours now? I mean, we've gone down 2 tests.
It's still in the morning, right? You're really just gonna hang out here all day in these woods, or did you? How badly do you want to get to town? I'm fine with either way, by the way.
Well, Our goal is really to make contact with someone from this land, right? So if we stay here and nobody comes back until tomorrow morning, then at least we know, like, all right, these trappers, they're gone. But
And we wait here, and if they don't come back, then we steal all their shit and leave.
yeah,
But if they do come back, then we're like, we're just keeping your chairs warm. We're hanging out waiting for you,
yeah.
and we want to talk.
Yeah.
Have you heard the good news?
Yeah, I like this plan of camping.
Okay. So there's no what I guess the question I want to know is, at what point would you guys be willing to move on? The following day? If nothing, assuming nothing changes, at what point would you guys be willing to move on?
If nobody comes, then Ahab at least would definitely say that we were moving on the next morning.
Okay.
I mean, how long do we have to hang out here to get a rest? Like in terms of what does a camp require of us in terms of time?
You actually can't camp because you don't have any checks.
Mm.
Well, no, Tris has one. No, you could camp. It could be up to like 12 hours or so. That's fine.
We don't have any conditions, though.
Yeah, we have no conditions.
I feel like this isn't a good use of my check.
Yeah, camping early and often is a pretty pro strat, though.
I mean, that's the thing, is we won't develop any if we camp now. And
Keeps us fresh.
you can use the check to then do other stuff, right? You can pay that forward in terms of preparing us more.
Preparing some more things, etc.
And it'll be really funny when they come back and we're sleeping in their tent.
Yep.
It'll be so funny.
Be on that Goldilocks.
So is that what we're doing?
Yeah.
It sounds like that's what we're doing.
Cool.
We're pirating the camp.
Yeah, we are pirates. As I sense you reminded the captain.
Awesome. Cool. All right, so let's do a quick camp here. The first thing we do when you camp is I roll for a camp event. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do now.
And do I remove my check as we're spending it to camp, or?
Not yet.
Okay.
You will use that. You will remove that when you cash it in for what you want. And also, camping resets the grind, which is good to know.
Does camping reset my use of my trait? Or is that per session?
No, I think it's per session.
Oh yeah, no, it is per session.
Yeah, 1d per session. Yeah.
Great.
Cool. Camp event 2. I will give you a +1 circumstantial modifier for this because you're in like a safe camp, right? It's
already been set up.
Yeah, it's been already set up.
Fuck it up because it's already here.
So actually, it's 0 extra dice here. I should have just rolled 2d6 here. Oh, 12. Okay, wow. Okay, so the maximum one's a lucky break. Cool. Good job, everybody.
I told you today was a good day to start our journey.
It is a great day to start your journey.
Most auspicious.
Yeah, and I sense he definitely chalks us up to the oracles and stuff and the stars, just being like, yes, today was the right day. You see, if we had come an hour earlier or a day later, who knows what we would have found here.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're keen to boast about how on point they were with their prediction.
So, you guys are just hanging out around camp. The fog clears, and maybe it's because just there's more light illumination in this forest now. You can see more. You definitely find yourselves looking near a standing stone. It's one of those waypoints. It has some kind of rune on it from a language long ago that you don't know, I think. That definitely looks to be sort of like a waypoint along a path. mechanically, you guys will gain +2 die circumstance to your next Pathfinder test or Scout test for traveling. Good lucky break. So what does this camp look like? So like you guys see, there's like a wayfinding beacon for your way. It should look like a pedestal.
Really tall stone that like sticks up above the trees, so it like we can kind of like see it like down the
not above the trees, but yeah, it's about the size of a person, but it's like skinny. It's almost like it's like a weathered obelisk. Yeah, exactly.
Or a menhir, but more like kind of round standing stone.
Yeah, and
cool.
Carved around it are things in a language that is old.
Yeah, so like, at some point over the course of our camp, Barboza goes up to it and do I have chalk for free?
What are you trying to do?
I'm trying to like inscribe over top of the rune.
Deface it?
Yeah, like I guess I grab like a burnt piece of stick or something like that with charcoal.
You're graffito tabbing this.
Yeah, I just like inscribe 3 downwards curling tentacles over top of the rune, drop the charcoal on the ground, walk back to camp and sit back down.
As a dwarf, can I tell if the stone is local or if it was brought in from elsewhere?
Yeah, that's a great idea. That would fall under your trade, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, this was mined. This is stone mined out of. I'm shitty with rocks, guys. What's the sharp rock? Is it shale? But shale doesn't get mined like so much as like it's on the outside. It's like one of those like inner rocks, like a sedimentary
like a
kind
limestone.
Of rock. Yeah, exactly. Limestone or sandstone.
Limestone is like if you want to go look more like Stonehenge.
Yeah. Sandstone, limestone, yeah. So a limestone obelisk. It was mined and carved and hauled here.
And I like the idea that like a dwarf looking at a rock is like a human looking at a tree, where we can be like, oh yeah, that's a cedar. They're like, oh yeah, that's a subcutaneous limestone under such and such strata or whatever. Dwarf.
And I maybe like try to.
It's just a baby. It's only 65 billion years old.
I try to like expound on this in a learned way, but whether or not my human companions care about what type of rock this is, I feel really proud of myself for knowing.
Yeah. Are you, just for the record, you're kind of gunning for your superiority here?
I think that's
but it doesn't have a roll or anything. It's just, okay, sure. Yeah. I was just wondering if you were intentionally doing that or not. Okay, cool.
No, yeah, I like flexing my dwarfness when and where I can, but...
Yeah. So yeah, you're eating someone else's delicious meal. No one's here.
Perfect for a pirate. This is so perfect.
What does spending a check entail?
Sure. So at this point, spending a check could be used for either recovery, which you don't have. It could be used for like crafting supplies for another skill that you need in the future. What that would be if you wanted to use alchemy and like make an elixir or for something, for example, if you want, or a healer for like a poultice, will give you supplies for the next healer check to recover a condition, that kind of stuff.
And you can share checks with the other players too. If you've earned them, you can still give them to someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So. I think so. I'm looking at the paragraph here on spending checks, and I think I want to spend it. And let me know if I need to explain this further, but to draw a map, I feel like I want to sit Ice and Sea down and say, okay, stars be damned. Let's draw a map.
He should already be. Yeah, don't you have an instinct?
I have an instinct where I've already been mapping everything.
Okay.
And I like described briefly, that I sense you. Like when we got to this clearing, I was like jotting it down on my map while you were scouting things out.
Yeah.
And I guess debate a course of action. Because if I don't spend my check, I lose it at the end. So,
I could always prepare a poultice because I have the healer skill.
Or you can give it to me.
Do we want to know what your poultices are made out of?
Listen, lad. All I know is they work.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I
Okay.
don't know.
Debating
It's
a course
up
of
to
action is
you,
legit too.
Ermintrude.
But
Let's have a poultice ready.
Okay.
Maybe Barbosa like sends me out to grab whatever plants.
Yeah, I'm like, you're looking for a plant with 3 leaves, and in the center between them, a single red spot. Bring it back to me, and I will prepare a healing poultice from its saps.
And I like stump off, grumbling, trying to find exactly. I'm like, plants.
You just come back with like 20 different plants because you're like, I don't know, I just pulled out everything I ran into.
Just hoovered up the forest and dumped it at your feet.
She brings back a willow tree.
The whole thing uprooted.
the entire roots and all. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. So are you going to make a poultice here? You're going to give the check to Ahab to make a poultice?
Yeah. How do I spend this?
Cool. So what you're going to be... This is a free test. That's how you get to spend it. You get to spend it by making a free test here. This test will be a healer test. Let's see. I think the healer test for this would be to make... So poultices are not a one-size-fits-all. They're for specific conditions.
Okay.
The number of conditions are 4 depends on the obstacle here. So
it's like it increases the number of conditions that it's for.
Yes. So if you wanted to make a poultice for these are the available poultices. You can't make a poultice for if you're hungry and thirsty, right?
Of course.
That's called food.
Yeah. You can make a poultice that can relieve exhausted, afraid, sick, injured, or angry.
And what's the conditions that they first come in on? Angry, exhausted, sick, afraid, injured, dead?
The grind gives you them in hungry, thirsty, exhausted, angry, a sick, injured, afraid, dead.
Good lord. I guess I'll target exhausted then, because that's the first one in that list.
And
Hungry and thirsty,
more challenging too.
it is. And staving off exhaustion is really good. Exhaustion's a pretty brutal condition to have. Okay.
Can I help with scavenger in the way that we previously described?
I don't think we can help on free tests unless we have been checked as the helpers. But Eric, you'll have to confirm that for me.
Okay, I was.
Yeah, I don't
That's
think
how
so.
my memory has this one.
Well, no. So this is. So you wouldn't. Okay. You wouldn't be able to help Andrew on his cartography test because that's an instinct and doesn't require spending a check. I think you'd be able to help Steven here with, or you'd be able to help Ahab with.
Okay, so
that's not a suggested help, but that makes sense that you would use it to gather things. But you're going you're going to use this for scouting for.
I'm scavenging.
Scavenging for the supplies needed. Yeah, no, helping with scavenging makes sense here. Yeah,
Okay.
I would allow helping with scavenge.
If we can help, can I help using alchemy, where I'm like, grinding the herbs in a certain way and like being like, oh yes, you should use this and that. And like,
yeah, you can always help with alchemy.
Cool.
So
all right, so I'm testing healer.
Yeah, so you can help with this check.
Make poultices.
Yes. And this is a very easy test. This is just an op 1.
Okay, so I have 2 help.
Well, how many poultices
help,
are you
trade,
making?
Supplies or other modifiers.
Are you making 2?
Sorry, you have 2 help, but you're making only 1 poultice, right?
Yeah, you're only gonna make 1 poultice, right?
I think the plan was to try to make only 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I have to make 1 poultice. Yeah.
So the question here in the input value window is any help, traits, supplies, or other modifiers, and I would put in 2 because I'm getting help from 2 people.
Mm-hmm.
But I also put my +1 die from being fresh here.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, so that goes up to a 3.
Yeah, because this is kind of like an overkill test, you might want to consider making a check against yourself.
Can't earn checks.
We can't earn in camp. That's right. Correct.
Okay. If I were to make 2 poultices, how would that affect the obs?
That would increase the number or quantity would be a factor in the test and would raise it by 1.
Okay. Can I do that then?
Because we're learning, yes. In the future, no.
Got it.
Right.
'Cause-
Right.
yeah,
So,
'cause
but like,
That's
if
like
you were
mongering,
like,
right?
it's
But we're
obs
learning the
one.
game, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It's obs 1, and then I'd be like, well, I feel like that's super low. We should go up. So, okay, I'm looking for an obs 2 test.
Yes.
Okay, submit. Ob is 2. Submit. Blam.
Boom. Nice. So what did the end result of these poultices look like? And I mean, I assume you have space in your pack for these. Somebody.
Let's see. What do
These
I
have to be carried around with you. Otherwise, you just made them and left it at this camp for this guy.
It's
Like,
payment. for
sorry,
using
we
their
use your
camp.
stuff. Hope
Yeah,
you're not
I-
dead.
When you get back.
So I don't have any room in my pack. Does
I can
anybody
carry.
else have room?
Yeah, I have a hand
small
free.
sack.
You're just gonna
Okay.
hold them in your hand.
Well, if you have a small sack, or
I have
yeah,
a small sack, but I have to carry my hammer, so
so as soon as a fight starts, you have to drop the poultices and go smash things with a hammer. But that's fine.
Yeah. okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. So like, I think I have like some strips of cloth that I have like smeared this herbal paste on and then rolled up and then tied with a string. So like they're sort of fist-sized bundles of cloth.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So I
let's-
dropped the boot and put in and grab the sack with the poultices.
yeah.
All right. So I hand both of them to Ermintrude.
And I mutter under my breath about having to carry all your shit all the time.
Yeah. And I say, one day we will all go into the black and deep, but not today.
I love that's your way of being like, hey, it's cool. You should carry this stuff for me because
Yeah.
one day we'll all die.
Yeah.
It's great leadership.
It's
Into it.
fine. Don't
So-
worry.
Okay. So we want to do a cartographer test here then for you, Andrew, because your instinct.
Yeah, 'cause
your
I'm
instinct rewards you
always
one.
Tracking that stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
Now,
Cool.
here's the thing. I roll cartographer when I want us to be able to backtrack without running into problems.
Yes.
Right? It's like a retroactive skill.
That's one of the perks that cartographer gives you. Yes.
Okay, but I can also make a roll on it now to make a map.
Yes.
Okay.
So you need to make a map, and once you have locations dotted on this map, you can basically like fast travel
Okay,
to
cool.
these rooms. Okay.
Yeah, so I have my instinct about always mapping our course through, danger, through bad
Yes.
places.
Yep. So if you're going to be mapping your current progress, which I think you are doing, this would be a small area, and the area is personally surveyed. This should just be an ob one.
Ob one? Great.
Like you know the road, and you're like forest, and then you're like camp.
And I
The hard
go
part is like
always
figuring
figuring-
out where the camp is. But now that you have that waypoint there, maybe that helps you.
Cool. Yeah. Do I get an advantage die for having the waypoint?
No, because you're scouting this up because you know it.
Okay, well, I am still fresh, and it's Ob 1. So how could I possibly fail? I just did.
Oh God. Okay.
By the way, this is my specialty.
That's your specialty in your old 4 dice, and they all failed.
Holy moly.
Wow, that's cool.
I'm pretty good at role-playing games, y'all. Just letting you know.
Yeah, awesome.
That's the magic of the dice roll.
Yeah, that's perfect because it's about time for our last break. So we're gonna come back and we're gonna see how you messed up. What happens when you finish your test here? So cool. All right, thanks guys. So we'll be back in 5 minutes.